Okay, folks, good morning. Welcome to Swing Trading Today. This is Bob Desmond, and it is March the 20th, 2019, and it is 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's begin with a rundown of what we're going to talk about today. First up, we took a poll over the past week or so with regard to the chart coloring. What do you like, the dark color or the white color? The white color background have it, so permanently we will be using the white background. You have been heard. Secondly, we're going to talk about the pre-market activity. It is Fed Day, so all price action in the markets should be viewed through the eyes that there is a lingering announcement out there, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And then we're going to segue over and into member stock chart request and our watch stocks for this morning. Member stock chart request is where I review the symbols that our gold members submit for me to review. So let's get to it. We're going to kick things off with the pre-market activity. And as I mentioned, it is Fed Day, Federal Reserve announcement. It is widely expected that there will be no Fed rate hike today, despite the at times petulant and hawkish views of Jay Powell. And looking at the S&P 500, it is sending us a signal that in all probability we will not get a rate hike as well. We are up 5 points this morning. We did pull back yesterday afternoon, but overnight we have resumed. These are all 4-hour charts, folks. If I didn't say that, I apologize. These are all 4-hour charts, and we are beginning to move towards the morning highs. The NASDAQ futures, very similar price action as to what we're seeing on the S&P 500. Now, I will point out that RSI has failed. It is broken down to new lower lows. You're not seeing that on price here, but RSI is sending us a signal on the NASDAQ 4-hour basis that there is some potential volatility out there to come. So be forewarned. Let's go back to the S&P 500. Yeah, we're seeing the same deal here. We're seeing lower highs and lower lows on the RSI for the S&P 500 4-hour basis. So we'll be keeping an eye on this bearish divergence of RSI versus price. And some of you may be saying, Bob, we haven't broken out to new session highs and RSI is not making new session lows. Where's the divergence? Well, what I'm looking at here is that we pulled back off the highs yesterday. Fine. We expected a pullback. We got the pullback. But we broke down to new lower lows on RSI, whereas on price, we held prior lows. So the relative strength index is flashing a bearish sign on both the S&P 500 and on the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the bond market. The bond market had broken down as well on RSI, lower highs and lower lows. We're beginning to move back up yet again, but we did break down on price. We rallied through resistance overnight. The question is do we press beyond these highs here? Because if we do, that means that yields will press lower. I discussed yields last night with members. We are up on the week. However, we are very close to breaking down to January 2018 lows on the 10-year yield. Taking a look at the U.S. dollar, the dollar is behaving well this morning. We had some really nice consolidation. We did put in a new weekly low, but we rallied through it. And unlike the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, where we're seeing lower highs and lower lows in RSI, we're getting the exact opposite on RSI. For the U.S. dollar, we are getting higher lows now, and we have broken out to new higher highs. So momentum gaining for the U.S. dollar. Now, looking at this strength on the U.S. dollar, it's not going to bode well for commodities like gold, which, of course, yes, is down. We are down a little over 1/3 of a percentage point. We're holding on to the 1,300 level. We have broken down below support on a 4-hour basis. RSI validating that observation with lower highs and now lower lows. So the price of gold under some pressure here this morning. Watch the 1,300 level. Natural gas It pulled off of its session highs yesterday. That's no great shock after rallying up and through its third standard deviation Bollinger Band. And you can see RSI is doing what it's supposed to do. It pulled back along with price action. We're looking for a breakout here on natural gas. I'm becoming more and more bullish on it. And the good part about natural gas is that it can rally with a stronger U.S. dollar, so you're not overly reliant upon a weak U.S. dollar for this commodity to perform well. Crude oil prices remain in a consolidation on price. RSI is a bit concerning, as while we are flirting with breaking out to new higher highs, RSI is actually pressing the lower band of support and putting in lower highs. Now, you can blame it on the fact that the price of oil is in a consolidation and it's skewing the RSI a little bit. That's fair. But watch for a break below support here on the price of oil. We are up slightly this morning. Let's segue over into members' stock chart request and our watchdog. Okay, first chart up, Facebook. I've talked a lot about Facebook over the course of the past several months, going all the way back to the spring of 2018. I have warned of their behavior. Their management style is extremely volatile, and they are putting their thumb in the eye of the federal government and begging for an antitrust case from the DOJ. Now, while we haven't seen the antitrust case from the DOJ, we have seen suits filed by the DOJ over privacy violations. So the DOJ is already in their business. What did Facebook do the other day? They blocked an account, or the ability of the quote-unquote social media czar, who I never heard of, for the Trump administration from being able to reply to a comment left on his board. So how do you think the price action is going to behave when you continually poke your thumb in the eye of the federal government? It's amazing. So you can see the downtrend on RSI continues. In fact, we broke out and rolled back over again on RSI weekly basis. We have a new weekly low, and we have stiff resistance at 174.30. I've been saying that these shares are uninvestable for a while now. I still hold to that statement. Daily chart, again, rejected at 174.30. We broke down in recent days, not below one support level, but two support levels, and closed there. We have both lines on Stokes down below the 50 level. Folks, avoid these shares. And you may be saying, you know what, maybe it's the internet sector that's weak. All right, so let's take a look at Google. Google, which is far more powerful than Facebook, does a better job of not ticking off the federal government. And so far this week, it is up a percentage point on a weekly basis. No new high versus last week, but still an up week. And when you take a look at a daily chart, you have a breakout above an upper band of resistance on both price and validation on RSI. These shares want to move higher. So is it the sector? I don't think so. I think it's a tale of two different managements. One is low-key. The other, Facebook, is in your face, and the share price is suffering for it. The next chart up, Broadcom. I spoke about this one over the weekend, and we were bullish on it. We remain bullish on it. We have a new weekly high, week over week. Good stuff. Stokes are rising. MACD histogram is continuing to press higher week over week. Daily chart. On a daily basis, we're beginning to see a little bit of topping action. We saw it last Friday. We saw it again Monday. We saw it again yesterday. So what do I mean by topping action? You may be saying, you know, Bob, look, it's up price action. It's all good stuff. Poop eating your Cheerios. What I mean by topping action is that you're seeing wicks or shadows on top of these candlesticks. Now, I had hoped for a pullback and a filling of the gap this week. We didn't get it, so therefore we didn't chase it. And we're still not going to chase it, especially when you have the shares leaning into their third standard deviation Bollinger Band. So while I'm bullish on Broadcom, The setup is simply not a good risk to reward entry point. So we would need to see a pullback. Volume has been good. So longer term, I think that Broadcom is moving higher. I mean, take a look at the monthly chart. The month is almost over. A beautiful breakout. Several months ago, we were talking about it. Do a search on my blog. Type it in. I've done many videos on Broadcom and this setup. It appears as though Broadcom wants to move higher. We remain bullish. Another stock I spoke about last weekend was UMRX. We'll begin with a weekly chart. Now, on a weekly basis, we are breaking out. We've had a nice consolidation. The question is, do we close out the week where we closed out yesterday or higher? If we do, it's game on to the long side for UMRX daily chart. Now, on a daily basis, we have a beautiful breakout on RSI. We've had higher lows for several weeks now, despite the fact that the price action has been sideways. This is called a positive divergence on RSI. I may just do a separate video on this. If you want me to do a separate video on RSI and divergences, leave a yes in the comment section below. Now on price, we clearly broke out yesterday on a bullish key reversal day. We were down only to reverse to close higher, and we did so on volume. Folks, this is significant when you get volume behind a breakout on this type of candlestick. I mean, this is outstanding price action. So UMRX looking good. Members, stay tuned for a possible trade alert coming out very soon. AMD weekly chart. On the week ahead commentary, I spoke about the semiconductor sector with members, and I was bullish on it. And we've had follow through this week. Now, when you take a look at AMD, it's behaving very well on a weekly basis in that we are stair-stepping higher. We are inching closer towards the highs of the fall. In terms of technical events, we have broken out above resistance on RSI. We have higher lows and now higher highs. Stokes hooking up, good stuff. Price, we are breaking out this week to new multi-week highs. Volume, I mean, last week's volume was pretty poor. So far this week, it's probably on par to come in better than last week's, but we would like to see better volume action. Daily chart. Now, on a daily basis, we're in a rising wedge formation. Not my favorite formation. And we are at the highs of this trading range where we have been rejected not once, not twice, but 3 times. Is the 4th time the chart? We'll see. But the indicators are very bullish. RSI, higher lows, and moving higher and above 50. The same deal on stochastics. Volume yesterday was outstanding. Really, really great volume action. So AMD looking good. We need a breakout here above this resistance level. I don't think you could buy it at resistance, especially where it's been rejected 3 times before. I'm not a big believer in triple tops or quadruple tops. So as far as I'm concerned, on a daily basis, we remain in the trading range. Show some discipline, wait for that breakout, and you'll be rewarded. We'll leave things off with LABU. I spoke about this one over the weekend as well. We had, on a weekly basis, the prior week, broken out. So far this week, we're down. The question is, and I said this to members over the weekend, are we retesting support or will we retest support? We are. The question is right now, do we close above support or do we fail and close back down below support? Being an eternal optimist, I think that we hold, and in all probability, we move higher. But we don't want to hope when we should fear, so we're going to wait for the markets to send us a signal. And you can see on this daily chart, we attempted a breakout on the 18th Same deal here on the 19th, but we're rejected. The problem is on the 19th, we close back down below support. We're in a tight consolidation. We can negotiate the support level a little bit. I don't want to negotiate it too much. I would rather buy on strength and on a breakout. So members, watch for a trade alert potentially today or tomorrow on LABU. And that is it for this morning, folks. Everybody have a profitable trading day. Don't trade the knee-jerk reaction of the Fed announcement, please. It's usually the wrong reaction. And be well.